Welcome back. What are your views regarding the controversy that's dogging the production and distribution of permanent voter cards and the fact that many Nigerians appear not to have gotten their permanent voter cards?
Why should we be having permanent voters card once in 4 years? Why should we be having continuous voter registration once in 4 years? Do Nigerian citizens turn 18 once in 4 years or every day?
I did an interview with Professor Jega and he disputed this fact.
Which fact?
He said even last year he's distributed cards and that it wasn't his fault if they were distributed and people didn't come to the office to pick them up.
When?
I interviewed him. He told me this
look, listen,
on the record.
Is it what he says or what we all experience? Did they call me last year to come and take my permanent voters card? They didn't.
Maybe you were the exception.
No. Did they call me last year to come and take my permanent voters card in 2013? Because we are now in 2015. It was in 2014 that they said I should come and take a permanent voters card. And lo and behold, they were not even there. And I don't have a permanent card even as I speak. They say that...
So we don't know whether you're voting or not.
Yes, I will vote. That's their problem. They have to make me vote. Because the right to vote doesn't come from INEC. It comes by virtue of my being a citizen. What they must do as the administrators of the voting process to give me the facilities to vote. I've been registering to vote since 1983 when I turned 20. And so, really, why should I register every 4 years?
Okay, so
what kind of government is that registers and re-registers?
Given these sentiments, how confident are you that INEC can deliver credible elections?
Well, it's a touch and go, really. I am an incurable optimist, but the evidence before me is not exciting.
So, even if we accept that INEC is not perfect, I am now trying to get you to tell me one way or the other whether the sum total of these things that you say are wrong are enough to make you believe that INEC is not capable of running credible and fair elections in the next few weeks.
No, I won't come to that extreme. If the man who wears the shoes says he will run the elections, that's his job. But I am able to comment about my understanding of what I see. And you see, and as they are now flying a kite, don't conduct elections through the NSA and through some youth groups, through some political parties, they are pressuring to say.
But if
excuse me, let me make this point. Let me
make
this point. You begin to see now that it is not necessarily because they want elections to be better. It is because they know that the wind of change is blowing, and it is in Professor Jega's ultimate interest and a challenge to his patriotism and a legacy for all of his people to ensure that an election that becomes so defining does not negatively affect the fortunes and the survival of Nigeria. That is the much I'm going to say. It's in their hands to get this right, and whatever it takes, they should do.
On the one hand, you've listed all of the things that are wrong. And this includes things like their inability to distribute permanent voter cards, including to people such as yourself. Now, let me ask you about another major issue, elections in the northeast of Nigeria. Places where, you know, we are being essentially ruled by terrorists in some areas. The professor has said he's going to try and conduct elections for internally displaced people within camps, as long as they're within the state. What do you make of this?
I think Jega has to, instead of making generalized statements, has to come out and make specific statements, and I'm not going to preempt him. When he makes a very clear statement about what he wants to do about elections in the Northeast, then I would be able to make...
he said he will internally displace people who will take elections.
So let's see what he wants to do. You see, these things are not about generalized statements. They are about, okay, X number of people are registered here, Y number of people can vote, Y number of people we have to vote in this place, these are places. We need to see their constituencies, they are measurable. You see, and that's why I say that the work in INEC is a logistic operations work. We've taken all sorts of templates. At one time, we reserved leadership of INEC for judicial officers. And after a time, we seem to think that, okay, it's now for ivory tower chieftains, professors.
Academics.
But the truth of the matter is that the work really is a logistic operation. And have we thought of putting people with logistic experience in INEC? And I will make this point this way. You know, INEC has to issue us how many? 70 million registered voters or our cards once every 4 years. Okay? And they can't get that right. But Coca-Cola sells 1.7 billion bottles of Coca-Cola every day. And it gets into people's hands.
So if you were doing the job spec for the next
a logistician, somebody who has logistics experience. You know, banks issue these cards almost on a daily basis to their customers. India issued cards to 800 million voters, about 6 times, about almost 6 times, 5-6 times the size of our population, the total population. And you know, this thing is not rocket science. Excuse me, I'm just not excited.
Let's take a break. When we return, we examine Governor Fashola's own record in office and allegations that his government is elitist and not for the masses. Don't go away.